We're going to completely shift our focus now and start into the geometry section of Math 10. The first thing we'll start with are conditional statements. A conditional statement is an if-then statement. So it's going to start out saying if something, then this is true. So if something happens, then this is true. So for example, if Duke wins the national championship, then I will be happy. Each conditional has two parts to it. The first is the hypothesis, and that is what immediately follows the if in the statement, from the if to the comma. And then the second part is the conclusion, and that is from the word then, what follows the word then, to the end of the sentence. So your hypothesis is first, if something happens is your hypothesis, the conclusion is after the then this is true. Okay, so we're going to take the first conditional I had and underline the hypothesis once, conclusion twice. So your hypothesis is what always follows the if. So if Duke wins the national championship, my hypothesis would be Duke winning the national championship. The conclusion would be that I would be happy. So your hypothesis follows the if, your conclusion follows the then. Part of the conditionals are our converse. To write a converse of the conditional, you just want to take your conditional statement and flip it. So if I took my original example, my original conditional, and flipped it, I would have my converse. So if I am happy, then Duke won the national championship. To write the inverse, you're going to negate the conditional. Negate means you want the opposite of. So if my conditional were, if Duke wins the national championship, I will be happy. To negate it, or write the inverse, I want to put not in the sentence. So if Duke does not win the national championship, then I will not be happy. And then finally, to write the contrapositive, you have to do both. You have to negate and flip the conditional. So if I am not happy, then Duke did not win the national championship. I flipped the original order and threw the nots in there. Go ahead and pause the video and do the first you try yourself. For this you try, you're going to write the converse, the inverse, and contrapositive. So to write the converse, you want to flip your conditional. So your converse would be, if I passed math, then I studied. Inverse, you want to keep it in the same order as your conditional, but you want to negate it. So you want to do the opposite of what it said. So if I did not study, then I did not pass math. And finally, the contrapositive, you want to flip and negate. So if I did not pass math, then I did not study. The reason we are learning about conditionals is further on down the road we will take a conditional statement about math and turn it into a proof and solve the proof. But right now I just want you to get used to know what a conditional is and how to write a converse, inverse, and contrapositive.